start recording. Okay, good Woche, everyone. Parshas Bamidbar. Amazing, the counting. Parshas Bamidbar, in a way, is an amazing segue before Parshas Dvarim that culminates with all the various mitzvahs Moshe Rabbeinu's leading Am Yisrael. There is a certain period of time in the Yiddishkeit of every person that is called Bamidbar, in the desert. In any kind of accomplishment, how much more so spiritually? A period of being in the desert is a must. There's nobody in the desert. There are no people there. There are no communities there, only maybe some, nomads with some tents from here to there. Every step of the way, we are going towards Eretz Yisrael. But Eretz Yisrael that we're getting to is not the only the physical Eretz Yisrael. We had 42 journeys in the Midbar. To get to Eretz Yisrael, to go to Eretz Yisrael, all you need is one, which would have taken 3 days. Instead, we took 42. It basically took 40 years. 40 years. It's very similar to Sphere Sa'imer that we are counting now. We are climbing. We're climbing towards Kabbalah Zatir. So very, very interesting observation by David Gvietzman as he speaks about the inner of counting. Counting has two aspects to it. There is a counting where it's very, very special. Whereas everyone is a unique individual. Then there's another aspect of counting that is not elevating, but actually the opposite. It diminishes. You're just a part of many. But beyond everything, whereas beyond the fact that the counting the specific individual people or pieces or whatever, or ingredients, um, there's another aspect when you're counting from one to wherever it is you're going. And that is that each individual count has nothing to do with the other. Yes, in a physical journey, when you're going towards a goal, so every step gets you closer to where you're supposed to get. Um, Hold on, I think here is Hillel. Hold on, just one second. I believe he wants to come up. Every step that we take, I mean, let's say that, or a count you have, that you have 10 coins. Every coin is a mitzvah unto itself. It is not, it is not, it's not to do with the second coin, or the third coin, or the fourth coin. Every coin is a separate entity. The kind of counting that we're looking for, which is the travels in the desert and is the 49 days of the sphere, are not counting that there in order to show multiplicity, which have a lot. You have a lot of individual coins or dollars or people or whatever. But rather it's a counting that leads to that which is beyond that. The 49 days of the Omer that we are counting, tonight we counted 43, is a step, it's a ladder that gets us to the 50th gate. The 50th gate is beyond all the 49. It's not a 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Actually, at the end, it ends being 50. The 50th gate is a totally different reality. We have to go through the 49 steps before it or to finalize that madriga, that level that we're on, in order to reach the 50th, which is the yovel, which is the bina, it's a different mitzvah altogether. The 49 days of counting, the counting of the Yidden of Am Yisrael, is all counting that each one keeps on surrounding and self-multiplying. The Gemara speaks about Am Yisrael standing by Har Sinai, being 600,000, 3,250, something like that. And said that there were that many covenants that were struck that day, that and there's a lot of calculations that the Gemara goes through. It comes out that each and every Jew, all the Jews are, have everything to do with each other. it comes out that each and every Jew is actually obligated and is a guarantor for gazillion numbers of covenants. There's a Jew on the end of the world somewhere, and he's doing something that he should not be doing. Each and every one of us, is chayav for it. Because, we're the guarantors, we signed. When you come to think about it, it's just like, how is it possible? How can we ever, ever, ever be yotzel? We have demands for repayment from every possible area, angle, whatever you want to call it. Millions, billions upon trillions upon. How can we ever be yotzel on that? How can we, acquit ourselves, facing all these obligations? The answer is when we are counted together. As Rabbeinu says, in Sefer Yitzirah, it says one stone builds one house, 2 stones build 2 houses, 3 stones build 6 houses, 4 stones build 24 houses, and 5 stones build 124 or whatever. In other words, it's a geometrical progression. Rabbeinu speaks about it, and Nothing speaks about it. We talk about it every woman that we go to. If you're coming to a minyan and there are 10 people, so one person, is 1 sfusim, 2 people, 2 sfusim, 3 people, there are already 6. 4 people are already 24. 5 people is 120 something. 6 is that times 6. And the result of that is that times 7. By the time you get to 10 people, you have literally thousands of zchuyot for everybody. So when we get to Uman, and Uman has 20,000 people, 30,000 people, the people think, what's the big deal if I go to Uman, if I don't go to Uman? The answer is that if there are 30,000 people and one more person comes, the number of combinations, the number of zchuyot that every Jew gets, it doesn't even resemble what it was without him. Anybody who's familiar a little bit with math can know that. This is the counting that we're counting in the midbar. There's a certain kind of recklessness that is needed in the midbar. It says, what is midbar? What is it called? The midbar, the Torah is given in the midbar because the midbar allows everybody to step on it. There's no boundaries. You can't step into you cannot park in my parking place. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. Midbar is hefker. Anybody can go there. The real hefker, as Rabbeinu says, really you don't need hefker. You don't need to throw away this life, not worried about anything, about any kind of parnasa, whatever it is in family, whatever it is. People just throwing themselves into avodas Hashem with total abandon. And he says you don't need that. He says, Efkeirus you don't need. Even Rabbeinu says this is really not Efkeirus. What is Efkeirus? Efkeirus means that you don't think about Olam Haba. That is Efkeirus. That's pshat being mufkar. When you don't realize what it is you need to do in this world, that's pshat hefker. But even when you are into avodas Hashem, yes, there's a place to having a family, to worry about your family, marry off your children, whatever it is, it can be a part of the oilam, as they say. But there's an aspect of midbar that the person needs. So, like a certain aspect of reckless abandon that you need to plunge yourself into in order to get yourself to Yiddishkeit. Because the thing is that the dimion, the power of imagination is so forceful. We do things that we know that we should not be doing. And we know that there's olam haba, we know there's judgment. So what the answer to that? How can we do that? That great teeter, the Yetzirah, the Koyach HaMadam, the power of imagination, tells you it's going to be okay somehow. It's total madness. B'ezrat Hashem, let's get on with the story of the Baal Shem Tov for this week. And B'ezrat Hashem, the Sichos of the men of God, Isha Elokim, the holy Baal Shem Tov. B'ezrat Hashem will be zeichet to a great and fruitful week. Okay, the Ma'aseh Baal Shem HaKodesh, they were sitting in Lev Pesach together with his students, and they were telling about Yetzias Mitzrayim, the entire night. Tremendous excitement and dveikus and Hashem Yisborach. And when the dawn broke, the Baal Shem Tov heard the Baskel, Israel, don't feel so satisfied with the Seder. The Seder of Reb Chaim, the porter that lives in a certain edge in Mezhibozh, made a bigger imprint in Shemayim than yours. Immediately, the Baal Shem Tov came out of his house, his Talmidim came together with him, immediately straight to the house of Reb Chaim the porter. He came to his house and saw Reb Chaim the porter half drunk and half asleep. So Baal Shem Tov waited until Chaim the porter, sort of like, he got his wits. I don't know if he got hair of the dog or whatnot. And he told him, Chaim, tell me, how did you manage your Seder? So Chaim looked at Baal Shem Tov, shaking, crying. And he said, Rabbeinu HaKadosh, please forgive me that I didn't do the Seder, Kedas Moshe Yisrael. 30 days before the Pesach, I was working extremely hard. And last night, after I finished Erev Pesach, all my work, I drank a little bit, extra vodka, a little too much. And I said to myself, all the days of Pesach, I'm not allowed to drink any vodka. So I'll allow myself to drink a little more now. So in Erev Pesach, I'll drink a little more than the usual. I drink, one shot, then second, and noontime, I became shlufadik, and I fell asleep. And I woke up after Tzeisak Lichoven. My wife woke me up. I told her, Chaim, are you Jewish? It's time for Seder. So me, I'm a very simple Jew. I told her, half asleep, my wife, I'm a very simple Jew. I'm ignorant. I don't have any more than I got from my father and from my grandfather. And I know that my forefathers, our forefathers, many, many, many years ago, were amongst gypsies and they suffered a lot and they cried out. And there in the heaven, we have a merciful Father that heard them and he took them out and he killed the wicked gypsies. And now things are very bad and it's very bitter amongst the Goyim. And we're calling out to our people, to our Father in heaven. And Bezat Hashem, he will hear us now also and will save us. And he finished and he said, I saw before me matzah, wine, and food, things that I haven't eaten all year long. So I ate and I drank and I fell asleep again. The Baal Shem Tov heard the word of the merchant, of the porter. Said total tmimus, total pshitas. And he turned to his Talmidim and said, and this Seder made a bigger imprint in Shema than mine did. That's the story. Zat Hashem, let's get to the Sichos Haran for this week and see what Rabbeinu is telling us this week. We are at Sicha 126. Leil Motzei Shabbos of Shabbos Shuva. The year was Tav Kuf Ein. There was a year before Rabbeinu Zistapos. They spoke for Moshiach. It was very famous. People said that this year Moshiach will come. And Rabbeinu didn't hold it down. He said, before Moshiach will come, it won't be just one person like me that is screaming about Emunah, because there will be quite a few tzaddikim then. They will call in a great voice about Emunah like me today until their voice will be hoarse and won't work. As it says, all those that are left over in Tzion, by Noseb Yerushalayim, that which is left over in Yerushalayim, Kodesh Yamer Lo. Anybody who would be left with a smidgen of holiness will be called holy. The Chazal said in Moser Barabasa that tzaddikim, that they will say before the tzaddikim, Kodesh means bevadai, that those tzaddikim that will remain then will hold themselves strongly in the Emunah. And really, it'll be befitting to say before them a lot more than just that kind of shevach. Since they will be strong, holding in the Emunah, they won't hold themselves, they won't let themselves fall down and make mistakes. And he says, and after the Olam, and he says, besides them, there will be quite a few famous people, famous rabbinical leaders, manigim shel sheker, and false leaders. And there's no doubt that there won't be there a kibbutz like ours today. That there are a few people that get together that really want to hear the truth. They really want to hear the Dvar Hashem. So even though there will be a few Elcha people in a generation, well, they'll be spread out here and there. And he says, write this for memory in the Sefer. let people know in the days to come that there was already somebody who knew all this from before. And there will be that they will know to be mischazik be'emuna in Hashem Yisbarach and in his true tzaddikim. One of the most puzzling aspects of the idea of Mashiach is that we have to ask for Mashiach, we have to hope for Mashiach, and we have to wait for Mashiach. But when we say, hey, Mashiach is coming, we're in trouble. Morning, Rabbi Simcha Bar Lev told me that there was once a Rebbe that a person came to him and he said that he wanted to invest the money that he had with merchants in the town that was. So the Rebbe told him, I don't think that this is a good idea. He says, why not? He says, because, I heard, in the mikvah, he said that here Mashiach is coming. And that person did not invest money in it. And not long after, that particular merchant actually went bankrupt. What it means, it's not that Chas v'Chalila that he spoke about Mashiach, that it caused him to go into bankruptcy. Chas v'Chalila. What it means is that when we are talking about Mashiach, and we say Mashiach is coming, here we have a sign, it's Mashiach, this is Mashiach, and that is Mashiach, and Mashiach is here, and he's coming, and this is it. Bevadai now he's coming. It is a harbinger of trouble. So what are we supposed to do? We're waiting for Mashiach. The answer is that we need to do what we need to do. We need to cry out to Kodesh Baruch Hu to send us Mashiach. We're asking 3 times a day. We wait and hope for him, but we don't do any more than that. The minute we're saying, okay, we are already over that stage of just doing what we need to do and waiting for Kodesh Baruch Hu to do it, but we're saying, okay, it's being done, it's happening right now, that means that we have gone over the line. It's a very difficult thing to judge, a very difficult thing, to call out and say, look, this is too much, or this is too little. He said, Mashiach is one of the 3 things that come Be'ezech Hadas. He said, there's a Metzir, I find, you can go and look to find him. The Metzias, you walk in the street, boom, suddenly you see 200 shekels lying on the floor. Be'ezech Hadas, he didn't think about it, we weren't looking for it. The second thing is Akrab, is a scorpion. Nobody expects a scorpion. When the scorpion is there, usually it's too late. And Mashiach. When people are not expecting Mashiach, this is when Mashiach will come. Nothing says Mefurish. If people say Mashiach, 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 you can be certain that at that time Mashiach is not coming. So what do you want from my life? Hey, so where am I with all this? The answer, I do mine. I do mine. And Mashiach will come. I don't get breathless. I don't get anxious. Beyond says it has to be. I am exactly where I need to be. When I was in the hospital last year, there was this fry newspaper reporter or whatever she is. Very, very rude person. And one of the things that she said was, she spoke, she wanted to know who I am, what I am, how many years, do tshuva, blah, blah, whatever. And then she looked at me, I think I told her the story at least once before, and she looked at me, with this pitying look, and said, the problem of Balei Tshuva are the children, aren't they? Right? Children, going off the derech, Balei Tshuva. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Am I better than my forefathers? Avraham Avinu, at least 50% of his children went off the derech. At least. Because we're not counting the other children of Hagar besides Ishmael. So at the best case scenario, 50% went off the derech. How many more were there? The Sham Shita that says, if you're going, in the Gemara kind of kok, means there were at least two more, which means 75% went off the derech. There's certain Shita that says there were 200 more. It means one part out of 201. One part out of 202 remained. 201 went off the derech. Yitzchak, 50% of his children went off the derech. Yaakov Avinu, Baruch Hashem, all his children were okay. I said, this is a generational thing. Some of the children remain, some children don't. But there's one generation to the next. And she said, I never thought about it that way. Of course it didn't. Because for you, everything is now. I want things to be, I want it, and I want it now. If it doesn't work now, it means it didn't work out. It does not mean that. It's like you're hearing all these things. That's the end of the government. It's finished. It's gone. It's dead. It's this. This week, somebody will come. I know for sure. I'm talking from knowledge, from the fact that this week, so you don't know anything. But it's just like, it's now. What? The only thing I have now is Torah, is mitzvahs, is kedusha, is tahara, to do what I need to do. Another day, and another day, and another day. Beg HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to help me break through my demyonis. So I do what I need to do. And Moshiach will come, B'ezrat Hashem, Moshiach will come. Hashem should help us, B'ezrat Hashem. We'll be zocher to a fantastic week. Mitzvah Hashem, this coming Monday, we will return to the news story of the burger and the pauper. And Wednesday, of course, the Kutam Haran, Thursday, the Kutam Haran. I wish you all a fantastic week, gewaldige time of health and wealth and a ber nachas.